Divorce happens. In fact, it happens to almost 50% of first marriages. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Divorce Happens, a podcast to educate, inspire, support, and yes, make you laugh through divorce and beyond so that you can start fresh on the next phase of your journey. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh.
You'll get divorced. You'll get divorced.
Getting divorced?
I'm getting a divorce.
You're getting a divorce.
Because she's getting a divorce.
So what if I get divorced?
Hello. Welcome to Divorce Happens, the podcast where we support you before, during, and after divorce with education, inspiration, and a little bit of laughter. Because as we know, divorce happens and then you start fresh. And we're here with one of our Fresh Starts experts, Julee. Julee, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Psychic Julee, and thank you very much, Olivia, for having me on the show. I really love the fact trying to help people open a new chapter and have some fun, that love and joy. And, I've been giving professional readings for, I think 17 years now. And the thing that I've learned is that it's okay. It's okay to begin again. It's okay to have some new ideas, do new things. And I'm excited to share some stuff today that hopefully will be helpful to others going through some challenging times.
I love that. So this is a personal topic for me because I'm a big believer in psychics. I've been going to psychics. My family has been going to psychics for many, many years. And I have been told things by psychics that nobody else would know. So I very much believe in them. And during my divorce, it was actually my therapist, who's also pretty woo. She recommended her psychic. And so I had some phone calls with her. And it was just so validating, like you said, Julee, to hear that good things are coming and I'm on the right path. And and there was also things that I didn't like to hear, right? That were a little bit nerve-wracking for me. But ultimately, it was such a great decision. And so I would love to know kind of why is it so important if somebody's going through divorce or a life change like that to really lean on a psychic?
Such a great question because there are a lot of skeptical people out there, and I like skeptics. It's okay to question because I believe my job is not to tell you how to live your life or how those upstairs loved ones, guides, guardian angels, whatever you believe in, even God. We partner in all of this. I believe we're co-creators, but a psychic is supposed to kind of give you a little preview of what some of the choices that you're making can really result in. And yeah, there's ways of being incredibly accurate about stuff. But the real thing is that you have free will and free choice. And if my job is to kind of help validate and plant seeds, there's been many times where I've had women who, they've been out of the dating game for 20 or 30 years and they're frightened and they call and say, am I ever going to meet someone? And it's not only are you going to meet somebody, but da, 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 and then I get to rattle some stuff off and they're like, I never thought of that. And I love days like that because it's like the light is turning on. It's exciting. And I think that there's a lot of fun things to look forward to. I think, specifically divorce isn't an ending. It's a closing of a chapter.
Yeah. I love that. I remember I called a psychic. It was actually, he's somebody I've worked with, but then he has a radio show. So he really didn't know who I was. I'm just going to preface this by saying that. And I called and I actually got through to his radio show and I asked him about my next partner. And I will never forget what he said to me. He said, your next partner will be your soulmate, not your cellmate. And I was like, whoo, it gives me chills just to think about it. And so I just love that. And I think what you said was really profound, Julee, is that it's not that you're telling them exactly necessarily what's going to happen, but you're planting these seeds for these ideas of what could come.
Right.
I guess the question for you is if somebody's never used a psychic and they come to me and they're like, I'm going through a divorce and I'm like, you got to go talk to Psychic Julee. What would you say to people who have never had an experience with somebody like you before?
Well, the first thing is, by the way, if people see a little kitty cat walking across the screen, her name is Harriet. She's the ultimate love kitty, and she does come in during psychic readings, especially when we talk about love. She's so
Love that.
loving. Uh, and she's Zoom famous for sure. But when somebody comes to me who's never spoken to a psychic, the first thing that I say is, it's not my job about being right. I like to think that maybe I get 80 to 90%, but really you're in control. And if I say something you don't like, it's okay. And I worked for California Psychics for a number of years. I did over 35,000 readings. And there were people that, when they didn't like what I said, they hang up the phone on you. Okay, that's a little rude, but I get it. Sometimes you're
Mhm.
not ready for it. So my job is to be graceful, to be sensitive, I don't really hold back, and I don't say, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
I say, let's consider, or let's think about, or the choices that you're making. And I see auras around people. So, for example, you have a lot of blue and violet. Like I see that. And there's a hint of yellow and green, which is really fun.
Mhm.
But sometimes that means certain things, or living in certain locations, or wanting to do certain things. So when I'm doing a reading, I always start with auras first. It's
I
a
love
real
that.
easy thing. Um, and then I let people ask me questions. And I ask people before we do a reading to kind of make a list of a couple of them of what they really like to know. Because I certainly don't want to talk about something and waste their time, because time is money and money is
Mhm.
time. And so I just really, to be the most helpful for someone, usually things will come very quickly and I'll answer a question before it even comes out. But for me, when I do my readings, it's a little bit more like a dialogue, almost like we're
Right.
doing this.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. I always love readings that are more like that. So how did you get into this, Julie? Like, you've done so many readings. How did you get started?
I know, and California Psychics had the counter. I worked for some other places for a number of years, and now I'm doing it privately. So that number has gone up still. But I started ever since I was a child. I was always intuitive. I'd always seen energy, spirits, whatever, guides, guardian angels at the end of my bed. I had an imaginary playmate who I met in real life. Um, but the thing that I believe, and at least I was raised to believe, is that everybody is intuitive. Everybody has gifts, and it took my dad having a terminal illness diagnosis. I changed my life. And part of what I needed to do, and a good friend who's a well known psychic said, is go help others. And so when I started on this path, I never knew how rewarding it would be, and I've had a lot of professions that have been really rewarding, but this is the ultimate for me. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, I can tell. You have such a beautiful energy too. I just wanna say that, like, talking to you. Um, so how do you work, Julie? Where do you work? If people are listening to this and they're like, "She sounds exactly like the psychic I wanna go to."
Oh,
What
thank
does
you.
that look like?
Okay, so first of all, go to psychicjulee.com, and it's my name. My mother did a beautiful job of Julee. So
Mm,
psychic Julee.com. You can
yep,
find me there. I have some really terrific new client specials. We're also going to post something for a discount for listeners.
amazing.
And so, yeah, we're gonna, because this isn't about, for me, a get rich quick. This is about a sustainable
Yeah,
moving forward and doing things. The second thing is I also do workshops, I do classes, I do all kinds of
mhm,
things. We're getting better and better at posting on the website. So every once in a while, you might see something there. And again, my job is to really be like a facilitator, and just kind of, I sprinkle a lot of predictions in with kind of some common sense girlfriend advice.
I love
So
that.
that's kind of how I work. And the thing that I enjoyed um, a lot, aside from being nudged by my cat here, I was trying to say, "What about me? What about me?" And I'm like, "Yes, Harriet the love cat is the best predictor of love out there. It's so
Oh,
great."
well, I'm gonna have to talk to Harriet soon. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, she gives amazing answers. And one of the other things I just want to say about me is I do travel around the country, and I do in person readings. I do private workshops. I do parties. One of the most fun things I did last year was a graduation party for a bunch of kids
Mm,
that it was just so cool. So if you go to my website, there will be more and more updates. Again,
Amazing.
psychicjulie.com. Thanks for
And you
letting me.
work, yeah, of course, you work virtually, Julie, obviously.
Yeah, it's really easy for me to give a phone reading. I mean, if people
Okay.
really want an in person, again, I've got some cities just like we're doing on Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need anything. I'm a no tools reader. I've had people ask for cards and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, of course I can do that.
Mm,
Um, I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient. That means I hear, see, feel. Um, I believe in past lives. I believe in quantum physics, and I believe in God. So, like, we just kind of,
yeah, a little bit of everything.
mingle all of that together
Yeah.
to give really someone, especially somebody who's starting over.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the question I was always asked is, what do I do or how do I do it next? And I'm a big tools person. That's why I
Mm,
love what you do, is you're
mm-hmm.
helping people with the tools
Yeah.
that maybe you didn't have all of them in the beginning. And you're like, oh, wait, when I discovered this, I really want to share it. Well, that's what I do. You know,
Yeah.
I love
Oh,
that.
I love that. I love that. I'm excited to book a reading with you because I need to know who's coming into my life, Julie.
Oh,
Well,
well, this is why Harriet's here.
I
She
love that.
she has not she has not left me alone, and at least she hasn't stuck her tushy or her nose in the camera,
Well,
but we're good.
we love Harriet the cat. Well, my birthday's coming up, so maybe for as a gift to myself, I will book a reading with you
We'll
because
do something
I
fun and
I love
special.
it. Yeah, I love it. I love your energy so much. So Julie, if somebody's listening to this and they are going through a divorce, what would be some words of encouragement that you could leave them with?
So, ironically, before we began today, I'm gonna hold up my list so people can actually see it. I'm gonna not hold my grocery list. Let's see.
Amazing.
Okay, you can't really see it. So the top word is improv. And the funny thing is, I actually am taking an improv class. You've got to learn to laugh. You've got to learn to kind of let things go. And, sometimes one of the things I focus on are energy blocks, like where is something coming up? And typically with divorce, there's a lot of frustration or anger energy or other things. And sometimes we don't even know where it's coming from. And we kind of take a look at stuff to go, okay, how do we clear the slate with this? And how do we laugh at it? How do we move forward?
Yeah.
The next word I got was purpose. And, what's my purpose? A lot of people, I had a woman on Saturday. She had been married for 35 years and got divorced. And that was her first question is, what's my purpose? Because I'm not married anymore. I'm not doing the things that I did,
Yeah.
where I'd get up in the morning and I'd have my purpose. Joy, where to find joy,
Mm,
and how to have joy with other relationships, not
yeah.
just romantic
Yeah.
and finding that romantic what to do next to find the romantic relationship, but joy is such an important one.
Oh.
Wisdom, really
Mm,
finding the wisdom of the things that happen and the things that we are making happen, and then taking a look at how to create the next steps. So
amazing.
those are things that again, I can talk forever on all kinds of subjects, but I love how that, like, it just came in so immediately. So I know that's the universe saying, get this out.
Oh, I love that. I want to circle back to one more thing you said, which has nothing to do with this, but now you've piqued my interest. How did you meet your imaginary friend in real life?
Ironically, just a very brief story. So, when I was in nursery school, I came home every day talking about what Dina and I did. Dina and I did this. Dina and I did that. My mom went to the teacher and said, "Oh, point out Dina. I want to invite her for a play date." There was no Dina. So, uh, 40 something years later, my boyfriend at the time ran a hotel, and he would call me 5, 7, 10 times a day or whatever. And
Mhm.
that day, like, was a little quieter, but it meant it was busy. It was a busy time. And he didn't call me that night. And sometimes he had to stay over when the normal person was off duty for the weekend. So again, it wasn't unusual, but it was kind of weird he didn't call. And the next morning, when he did call, he said, "Oh, I went out to dinner with this woman." I went, "Huh? Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
What do you mean? You didn't call
Right.
me and you went out with a woman?"
Right.
Like, I was
Yeah.
freaking out. So anyway, the long story short, he's like, "No, no, no, you got to meet her. You got to meet her." So I go up to the hotel, I meet her. And, like, how when you walk in a room and you kind of, aside from getting goosebumps, which is my psychic knowingness and all
Mm.
these other things, like, it was just this weird knowingness. And she put out her hand and said, "Hi, I'm Dina."
Oh my god.
And our backgrounds, she lived, in Hawaii, which I did not. I lived, in Michigan at the time and like thousands of miles away
Yeah.
growing up. And her background, we had a lot of things. But after that meeting, it wasn't like we stayed in touch and are best friends. It was just one of those things where I think that we've had many lifetimes together. I think we'll have
Mhm.
many more. We got to the place in time and space. Our crossroads crossed,
Mhm.
and it was great. And but it was familiar. It was a weird familiar.
Mm.
And I want to give hope to a lot of people who are going through a divorce situation that, like, when they first met their partner, there was a knowingness there.
Mm.
That knowingness, no matter what the relationship is really what should be our intuitive guidance. And that's what I try to help develop with people so that, listen, I lose cars in parking lots. I lose things all the time. Like, how
Yeah.
can we be more intuitive? How can we make better decisions? I've made my share of bad decisions. But the thing that I've learned about being psychic, working with my fellow psychics and doing kind of workshops to grow everybody's abilities is that we can get better, but we're not supposed to be perfect and stuff
Mm.
happens and it's okay. It's how we react and what we do with it.
Yeah, I love that. Julie, you are a light. You were so, so wonderful to talk to. I
Thank
cannot wait to keep, recommending people go talk to you, especially, considering divorce, during divorce, post divorce, finding love again, finding themselves again, right? So, so much of what we built at Fresh Starts was to help people build that hype team. And part of my hype team was a psychic. And that's why I keep trying to tell people, you of course need the divorce lawyer and the mortgage lender and all those people, but you also need the Reiki healer and the psychic and the masseuse, right? So it's all
They are tool. You know what? All these things, tools in the toolbox, and if you
yeah,
use them properly, again, my job is not to tell you what to do, but it is to validate what you're going to do or planting seeds that you have to grow.
yeah.
And I love your passion and
Oh,
enthusiasm. I
thank
know
you.
this is your mission.
Yeah,
I'm truly excited for you.
thank you.
Because in all the years that I've done what I've done, I wish I could have had this tool to recommend to people at that time and say, hey, go get involved with this because
Yeah.
your community that you're building will foster all kinds of
It's
relationships moving
amazing.
forward.
It's amazing. It is. It's truly I always say that we build such a beautiful ecosystem of people and relationships and support. But we're just so happy that you're part of our ecosystem. And you can, of course, find Julie and this podcast and all the good stuff over at freshstartsregistry.com. Julie, I just appreciate you so much. And we're so happy you're part of this community. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. And here's Harriet again making her.
I love
She
Harriet.
loves you all and she wants to make predictions for you all, right, baby?
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Olivia, for having me. Take care.
Divorce Happens is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the only divorce registry platform for everything you need to begin again, including home items, hype team, and everything in between. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh. We're here to support you before, during, and after divorce. Head to freshstartsregistry.com for more info.